For decades, the word cholesterol on a food label felt like a red alert, a warning siren telling you to put that egg, shrimp, or liver back on the shelf before your arteries staged a protest. Dietary cholesterol was long seen as a direct pipeline to heart disease. The logic seemed simple. Eat cholesterol, raise your blood cholesterol, clog your arteries. But science, as it tends to do, eventually caught up with reality, and what it found was a lot more complicated and way more forgiving than the food pyramid of the 1990s ever let on. Let's start with the basics. Your body needs cholesterol. It's not some rogue chemical trying to take you down from the inside. It's actually essential for making hormones, vitamin D, and the membranes of every single cell you have. And here's the kicker. Your liver makes the vast majority of it, about 75% or more, all on its own. That's right. Even if you never ate a speck of cholesterol, your body would still make it. The human body is just that committed to keeping the show running. So, where does dietary cholesterol come into play? Foods like eggs, shellfish, organ meats, and full-fat dairy contain cholesterol, sometimes quite a bit. But when most people eat these foods, their liver simply dials down its own cholesterol production to maintain balance. This built-in regulation system means that for the vast majority of people, dietary cholesterol has only a modest impact on blood cholesterol levels. Some research even suggests that in many cases, dietary cholesterol can improve the ratio of HDL, good, to LDL, bad, cholesterol, or at least not worsen it. This is why health authorities around the world have quietly walked back their previous hardline stance. The US dietary guidelines no longer recommend a specific daily limit on cholesterol intake. It's not because they're suddenly egg enthusiasts, it's because the data just doesn't support the idea that cholesterol in food is a primary driver of cardiovascular disease. But of course, there are always exceptions. Not everyone responds to dietary cholesterol in the same way. Roughly 20 to 30% of the population are what scientists call hyperresponders. These individuals do experience a more noticeable bump in blood cholesterol when consuming cholesterol-rich foods. However, and this is key, even in hyperresponders, the increase in LDL cholesterol is often accompanied by a rise in HDL cholesterol too, keeping the overall cardiovascular risk largely unchanged. Their LDL particles may also become larger and fluffier, which is a better kind of LDL compared to the small, dense type more strongly linked to heart disease. That said, some people do need to be cautious. If you have familial hypercholesterolemia, a genetic condition that causes sky-high LDL levels, you likely need to be more mindful of all cholesterol-raising factors, including dietary cholesterol. The same goes for people with existing heart disease, poorly controlled type 2 diabetes, or multiple cardiovascular risk factors. In these cases, dietary cholesterol may play a more meaningful role, especially if it comes packaged with saturated fats and ultra-processed ingredients. The cholesterol in a boiled egg is different from the cholesterol you get from, say, a fast food breakfast sandwich with bacon, cheese, and a biscuit that could double as a doorstop. In the real world, it's not usually cholesterol in isolation that gets people into trouble, it's the company it keeps. High intake of saturated fat, trans fats, now largely phased out, added sugars, and sodium all play a bigger role in increasing cardiovascular risk. So, if you're staring down a plate of shrimp cocktail, you can relax. But if that shrimp is breaded, fried, and served with a creamy sauce, then we're dealing with a more complex nutritional picture. The takeaway? For most people, cholesterol in food is no longer a major villain. It's more like a retired antagonist, someone you thought was the bad guy, only to find out they were just a misunderstood supporting character all along. Eggs, shellfish, and even a bit of liver pate can have a place in a balanced diet, especially when your overall eating pattern is full of vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, and lean proteins. So, should you still worry about dietary cholesterol? Not really, unless you fall into a high-risk group. For the average person, cholesterol-rich foods can be part of a heart-healthy lifestyle, especially when they replace more harmful dietary choices. It's time to stop fearing the yolk, stop demonizing the scallops, and maybe even invite that humbled chicken liver back to the party, just not every night. After all, nutrition isn't about cutting out every food with a questionable past. It's about understanding the full story and realizing that sometimes the foods we feared were actually never the real problem to begin with.